Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, let us begin the second session. So, in yesterday's lecture, the previous lecture, first lecture was there, in which we have already discussed about what is operating system, evaluation of operating system, functions, and the objectives of operating system. Right. So today we will see something which is called as the system calls and the structure of the operating system. Okay. So the first is the system calls. So what are the system calls and what are they used for? For which we use the system calls, that we will see. We know that our operating system provide certain services, isn't it? Our OS provides certain services to user programs, right? So, what is the actual role of the system call in this? They provide an interface to the services made available by an operating systems. Okay. Try to read one more time this statement. System calls which provide an interface to the services made available by an operating system. Okay, so before we try to understand the system calls and how they actually used or when they called in detail, before that we will just see two main points we need to know about. Okay, the two most important operations in which our program can be executed, which are known as the user mode and the kernel mode. If you can see this diagram, there are two modes displayed. One is the kernel mode, which is also called as the privileged mode, and other is the kernel mode, sorry, user mode. So in these two modes, the program can be executed. Fine. Now what is the difference between both? दोनों में भी रन होता है क्या at the same time या कब कैसे होता है, that we will discuss now. See, if the program is running or executing in the user mode, then that program does not have any we can say direct access to the memory or to the hardware, your base hardware, and or we can say such resources like input output devices. Direct access nahi hota. If your program is running into the user mode, then the direct access of the different resources is not available for that program if that program is running into the user mode. Okay, but if the program is running into the kernel mode, then everything that is the core functionalities whatever present with the operating system will be provided to that program. That means every input output devices, device drivers, or whatever the extra functionalities are there, that will be directly provided or directly accessible to that program. So that is the main basic difference. So we can so simply we can say that the program which is in the kernel mode, then it is a privileged mode, right? If any particular program is present into the kernel mode, then it is into the privileged mode. Because what? Because of the direct access to many resources, isn't it? But see, the problem is that if any program is running into the kernel mode, and if that program is having the direct access to the different functionalities, and in between the execution of that program, if that program happens to crash, or if that program happens to fail, then what will happen? It will affect directly to the entire system. The entire system crashing process may possible because of the program will fail. प्रोग्राम जो भी एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है उसमें कोई भी माल फंक्शन हैपन हुआ या कोई भी एरर ऑकर हुआ, then because of that your kernel will be crashed, your entire system will crash. That is the main disadvantage if we are running a program into the kernel mode. Okay, so but if any program we are running into the user mode, and if that program happens to fail, then only that particular program will fail. It does not affect to the basic hardware of your system. It does not affect to the kernel of your system. That is the main difference. And because of that, we say that it is safe to run, or we can say that the user mode is a safer mode of operation, though the kernel is a privileged mode. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So even if we are getting the access of entire functionalities of entire resources through the kernel mode, but this is the not the safest mode. User mode is the safest mode. Okay. But suppose if any program is running into the user mode, it may need to access some of the resources, isn't it? So मान लो कि कोई प्रोग्राम यहाँ पे रन हो रहा है यूजर मोड पे और उसको एक प्रिंट देना है. So it will require a printer, so it will need to access the hardware request, right? It has to do a request to the kernel. So at the time of accessing that resource, it makes a call to your operating system. Okay. So for that particular instance, whenever any user mode program wants to access the resources, it makes a call to the kernel or to your operating system, for that particular resource. It calls, and when that call happens, the context switching will happen. Context switching मतलब क्या होता है? For that particular instance, your program will be placed into the kernel mode so that it can access those resources. Okay. So when the execution of that particular resource will done, उसका usage अगर खत्म हो गया उस resource से, then that particular program will be resided back again to the user mode. This is also a part of context switching. ठीक है. For that particular execution instance, the program will be swapped into the user mode and into the kernel mode. This is the context switching. Okay. So when any resources will be required by this user mode program, it calls to the operating system for requesting the resources. That call is nothing but the system call. Okay. Whenever user mode program wants to access any resources which resides in a hardware which requires a operating system permission or kernel mode permission, then in that case it calls to the operating system, it requests to the operating system for accessing those resources, and that call is nothing but the system call. Okay. So in let us say, in order to understand um, in a detailed way, we will take one example later on. But before that, system call is a programmatic way in which a computer program requests a service from the kernel of the operating system. This is what I have explained now. Okay. ये 3 लाइन का statement का meaning ही वही था जो मैंने अभी तक explain किया. A system call is a programmatic way in which a computer program requests a service from the kernel of the operating system. Right. So these calls are generally available as routines written in the C or C++. ये जो सिस्टम कॉल्स लिखे रहते हैं आपके ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में, जो आप कॉल करते हैं, मतलब आपका यूजर प्रोग्राम कॉल करता है फॉर रिक्वेस्ट फॉर एक्सेसिंग द रिसोर्सेज रिक्वेस्ट, राइट? So those will be written into the routines by using the C or the C++ language. Fine. So I just want you to note down this one, कि system call का definition and this user mode and kernel mode diagram. Draw in your notebook. Now, in order to understand in a clear way, let us take an example how we can say system calls are made and how they are called. See, if we will take an example of system call sequence for writing a simple program to read data from one file and copy to another file. अभी कितना छोटा सा टास्क है कि कॉपी पेस्ट करना है, एक फाइल के कंटेंट जो है दूसरा फाइल क्रिएट करके उसमें पेस्ट करना है. दिस इज द वेरी सिंपल टास्क इफ वी विल टॉक इन अ नॉर्मल लैंग्वेज, या फिर हम कंट्रोल सी कंट्रोल वी करके बात खत्म भी हो जाती है, राइट? बट beside that उसके background में how many number of system calls are running, that we have to see now. So whenever any particular step will be performed, in the background of that one system call will be called, right? So see, suppose we have one we want to copy the content from one file to the another file. So the very first step which we want to do is acquire a input file name. Acquire a input file name means, first of all we have to ask to the user which file from which we have to copy the content, right? So we need to acquire the input file name. Now after that write prompt to screen, this will be the second system call. Write prompt to screen means if we are asking to the user which file do you want to copy, then in that case the user is going to write something, so that will be displayed onto the screen. And now whatever the contents are written by the user, or the file name which is written by the user, that we have to accept as a input. Now this will be the third system call. Now these three steps, ये तीन स्टेप्स कहाँ परफॉर्म होंगे? ओनली फॉर कंफर्मिंग कि कौन से फाइल से हमें कंटेंट्स को कॉपी करना है, इजंट इट? तो सिर्फ ये एक चीज जानने के लिए ये तीन सिस्टम कॉल्स रन किए जाएंगे. नाउ आफ्टर दिस, वंस वी विल गेट द आइडिया कि कौन से फाइल से कॉपी करना है, now we have to make sure, we have to ask to the user कि where we have to copy this file, where we have to copy by taking only the name and by creating a new file, right? So the next step will be acquire output file name कि कौन से फाइल में हमें ये पेस्ट करना है, right? So after asking to the user, now user is going to enter, or it is going to write prompt to the screen, and whatever it is writing, that we have to accept as an input, isn't it? So सिर्फ अब फिर next तीन step हो गए for identifying कि in which file we have to copy the content of this input file, right? Now after this step, ये दो अब हमको पता चल गया कि कौन से फाइल से कॉपी करना है और कौन से फाइल में कॉपी करना है. नाउ आफ्टर दैट द नेक्स्ट विल बी ओपन इनपुट फाइल. जो भी इनपुट यूजर ने दिया, सी फॉर टेकिंग द इनपुट ऑल्सो वी हैव टू ऑप्शंस. The one option will be we are asking to the user to enter the name of the file and then we are taking as an input, isn't it? The another option will be we are going to display the number of files available in our system. जो भी files available हैं that we can display to the user कि ये files है, इसमें से आपको कौन सा copy करना है, right? That is the other option. So those files will be displayed to the user on the screen, and now user is going to just use a mouse to click on that file or any जिससे भी वो पॉइंट आउट कर सके कि कौन से फाइल से कॉपी करना है. सो दैट विल बी द अदर ऑप्शन. दिस टू ऑप्शंस आर अवेलेबल फॉर आइडेंटिफाइंग द इनपुट फाइल नेम. Now once we will get the input file name, we are trying to access or trying to open that input file name. अगर सब कुछ smoothly रहा then that is okay. But what if whatever the input file name has given by the user is not available into our system? If the file doesn't exist, then the abort system call will be called. Whatever the input file name has been given by the user is not available, then the abort system call will be called. Okay, अगर है ही नहीं फाइल तो ओपन कैसे करेंगे? So that is why abort system call. Now मान लो कि फाइल है, अपना फाइल ओपन भी हो गया, then what will be the next system call? Create a output file. जो भी आउटपुट फाइल का नेम यहाँ पे यूजर ने दिया है, we have to create output file. And suppose whatever abc नाम का कुछ आउटपुट फाइल अगर यूजर ने दिया है, and we are trying to create a file with the name abc, but what if the abc file is already exist? Then we cannot create the file with the same name, isn't it? तो वहां पे भी abort system call किया जाएगा, राइट? तो सिंपली अभी तक हमने कॉपी पेस्ट शुरू भी नहीं किया है, बट बिफोर दैट दिस नंबर ऑफ सिस्टम कॉल्स कैन बी कॉल. अब ये अबॉर्ट वाला तो ऑप्शनल रहेगा अगर यहाँ पे एरर आया तो, अदरवाइज द रिमेनिंग विल बी द बाय डिफॉल्ट सिस्टम कॉल्स विच हैज टू बी रन इन द बैकग्राउंड. फाइन. नाउ फ्रॉम द नेक्स्ट कि इनपुट मिल गया, आउटपुट फाइल क्रिएट कर दिया, राइट? वी हैव ओपन अप द फाइल, इनपुट फाइल. Now we have to read the content from the input file. Whatever the contents are available in the input file, that we have to read, right? Now कब तक read करना है? Till the end comes, isn't it? उस फाइल का आखिरी कैरेक्टर तक we have to repeat this process, read from input file, right? So that will be performing into the loop until the read fails. So whatever we are reading from the input file, that will be returned into the output file. कब तक चलता रहेगा? ये सब कुछ लूप में चलता रहेगा, ये दोनों चीजें लूप में चलती रहेंगी जब तक इसका आखिरी एंड, जब तक इसका आखिरी कैरेक्टर तक रीड नहीं करता. वंस द एंड कैरेक्टर, लास्ट कैरेक्टर विल बी रीड बाय द प्रोसेसर, then it will be copied, it will be written into the destination file, right? Now after writing, after completion of writing the entire file into the destination file, then the next system call will be close output file. And after completion, after closing the file, we have to write completion message to screen, and that is again a one more system call कि यूजर को डिस्प्ले होना चाहिए कि योर प्रोसेस हैज बीन कंप्लीटेड. वंस द प्रोसेस हैज बीन कंप्लीटेड, the process should be terminated normally. The process should not be in progress. वो वर्किंग कंडीशन में नहीं रह सकता, वो प्रोसेस जो है वो ओपन नहीं रह सकती, बिकॉज एवरी प्रोसेस हैज अ यूनिक आईडी. तो जब तक वो प्रोसेस काम कर रहा है तो उसका आईडी जो है वो वर्क करता है, तो उतने देर तक आपका सीपीयू उसके पीछे काम करता है. सो इफ यू आर नॉट टर्मिनेटिंग योर प्रोसेस प्रॉपरली, तो उसके जो भी उसके लिए यूसेज होने वाले जो भी प्रोसेस बैकग्राउंड में चल रहे हैं, रिसोर्सेज बैकग्राउंड में चल रहे हैं, वो तब तक रिजर्व रहते हैं. सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू टर्मिनेट द प्रोसेस normally, right? So these number of, we can say these number of system calls will be called while we are doing a simple copy paste process, while we are doing the simple copy paste program, isn't it? So we can say that in a single second, a thousands of system calls will be called, isn't it, by the user program. इतने सारे system calls पीछे background में काम करते हैं. So everything which is called by the program which is running into the user mode, who wants to access the resources from the operating system, it does the calls, it does the system calls to the operating system, right? So I hope the system call concept is clear to you. System call पे short note पे question आता है. In that case you have to explain everything about the system calls, that diagram, as well as the, one example. अभी ये प्रैक्टिकल में भी होगा कि कौन से डिफरेंट सिस्टम कॉल्स है हमारे पास कमांड लाइन में, तो वो प्रैक्टिकल अलग से रहेगा. फाइन. So is it clear? Let me ask the question. Okay. Aryan, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chalo. So the next is operating system structure. See, if we talk about the operating system, which is very large and a complex system, isn't it? And which has to be, we can say, engineered carefully so that it will function properly and it can be modified easily. These are the very basic features of operating system, जिसमें हमने देखा था कि it should be modified, कि बैकग्राउंड में आपका सब कुछ चल रहा है लेकिन फिर भी आप उसको मॉडिफाई कर पाए अकॉर्डिंग टू योर requirement. That is also the most important criteria while we are designing the operating system, right? So there are different structures that have been followed from beginning to the till now, using which your operating system has been designed, right? So we will be discussing about those structures, and we will see the advantages as well as the disadvantages of those structures. बट बिफोर दैट वी विल गो, जो भी लेटेस्ट यूज होता है या फिर जो सबसे बेस्ट है, उससे पहले हम लोग पहला वाला कैसे था या कैसे कैसे इवैल्यूएशन हुआ, दैट वी विल डिस्कस. ओके, सो लेट अस गो टू द फर्स्ट. नेक्स्ट नहीं, हाँ चलो. So this is the structure which is used in the beginning and also in an old operating system, which we called it as a simple structure. Okay, now simple structure was a structure which was we can say followed in the very earlier operating systems or in the beginning of the operating system. Okay, it does not have very well defined structure. इसको कुछ ऐसा बहुत ही काम करके या कुछ ज़्यादा सोच विचार करके कॉम्प्लेक्स स्ट्रक्चर है जो बहुत कुछ प्रिविलेज देता है, ऐसा भी कुछ नहीं है, बिल्कुल ही सिंपल सा स्ट्रक्चर है. सो द डायग्राम विच वी कैन सी हियर, दिस इज द फिगर ऑफ योर सिंपल ऑपरेटिंग दैट वाज फॉलोड बाय द माइक्रोसॉफ्ट डिस्क ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम. MS DOS तो सुना ही होगा, राइट? सो उसका ये वाला स्ट्रक्चर था, a very simple structure which was implemented in the MS DOS. So we know that MS-DOS was an old operating system which was designed very long back, and this structure was followed by that particular operating system only. अब क्या है कि उन्होंने क्यों इम्प्लीमेंट किया ऐसा ही, बिकॉज दैट वाज इम्प्लीमेंटेड या डेवलप्ड बाय द इंटेल 8088, उसमें प्रोसेसर था, तो उसमें कोई भी प्रोटेक्शन वाला पार्ट इम्प्लीमेंट उन्होंने नहीं किया था कि आप डायरेक्ट हार्डवेयर को कोई प्रोटेक्शन कैसे दे रहे हो, वो सब वहां पे तभी वहां पे इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं था. सो ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के डिजाइनर्स या डेवलपर्स जो थे उनके पास कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं था कि वो सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर इस तरीके से रखें. हम लोग फिर से वो डिस्कस करेंगे. नाउ हियर इन दिस डायग्राम यू कैन सी at the bottommost we have the ROM bias device drivers. Okay, so simply you can think this as your base hardware. Okay, and this is the base hardware, मतलब जहाँ पे सारे आपके functionalities रहते हैं, जहाँ से आपको access करना होता है. So on the top of this, we have device drivers, and then we have resident system programs, and then the application program. So we can see that device drivers have the access to ROM BIOS device drivers, that is your hardware. इसको जो access है वो इसका hardware का direct access है इस device driver को, right? Then the resident system program, they have access to this device drivers as well as this hardware, your basic hardware. And even this application program have access to this resident program as well as to this ROM bias device driver. मतलब आपका जो कोर हार्डवेयर है, बेस हार्डवेयर है, उस सब का एक्सेस है. So we see that base hardware can be accessed by all the things above it, isn't it? Sorry.
Yes,
डिवाइस
ma'am.
ड्राइवर है, रेसिडेंट सिस्टम प्रोग्राम है, एप्लीकेशन प्रोग्राम है, सबको एक्सेस है. So in this structure, the interfaces and the levels of functionality are not well separated. So we see that the application programs are able to access the basic input output routine, as well as they can write directly into the display and disk driver. So that means application programs are able to access your base hardware, core hardware या base hardware directly without going through these layers below it. See, this looks like they are a kind of layered structure, but we cannot call it as actually a layered structure, because there is another structure of operating system which is called as the layered structure, following a layered approach. Okay, हम लोग वो नेक्स्ट टू नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में देखेंगे ही कि लेयर्ड स्ट्रक्चर मतलब एक्चुअली क्या होता है. लेयर्ड स्ट्रक्चर इज समथिंग विच इज कॉल्ड एज द सर्विसेज विच विल बी एक्सेस्ड बाय द बिलो लेयर, जो नीचे के सर्विस तक ही, मतलब नीचे के लेयर तक ही लिमिटेड रहता है. ये इसके सर्विसेज एक्सेस कर रहा है, डिवाइस ड्राइवर इसके सर्विसेज एक्सेस कर रहा है, उसको लेयर स्ट्रक्चर कहा जाता है. बट ये भले ही लेयर में दिख रहे हैं, बट दे आर नॉट वर्किंग एज ए लेयर स्ट्रक्चर. एवरीथिंग और every above layer can access the functionalities which are available in this core structure or core hardware, right? So so we can say that even if it is not a layered structure, because all these layers have access to the base hardware, so what happens is that such ये जो freedom है ना, ये क्या ये access कर पा रहे हैं to the hardware, वो जो आपका MS-DOS था, it leaves MS-DOS vulnerable to error or we can say malicious programs, so causing this entire system to crash when the user program fails. जो आप अभी मैंने समझाया था ना आपको कर्नल मोड और यूजर मोड में, कि अगर कर्नल मोड के एक्सेस, अगर प्रोग्राम जो एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है, मेन प्रोग्राम जो एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है उसको अगर एक्सेस है, दैट मीन्स इफ दैट प्रोग्राम विल फेल तो योर एंटायर सिस्टम कैन फेल, वो क्रैश हो सकता है, राइट? और वही एग्जैक्टली यहाँ हैपन हो रहा है कि आपका जो प्रोग्राम है वो कहीं पे भी रन होने दो, उसको हार्डवेयर का आपको एक्सेस है. तो ऐसे केसेस में, या फिर आपका MS-DOS जिसमें ये सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर इंप्लीमेंटेड था, इट दैट इज वल्नरेबल टू योर interruption or the malfunction program which are causing the entire system to crash, right? So because here this application program is being run by the user, and since it is directly having the access to the hardware, right, if that happens, it fails, If that happens and if it becomes fails, then that entire system is going to crash because of this direct access, right? So we can see that it is not well protected and not well structured also, and it is not well defined कि हम उसे गुड स्ट्रक्चर कहा जा सके, ऐसा भी कुछ नहीं था. But as I said, we cannot blame to the developers or to the designers for designing this operating system or the structure, because as we are talking about the Microsoft या फिर MS DOS जिसे हम कहते हैं, वो MS DOS जो था वो एक्चुअली रिटर्न ऑन द इंटेल 8088. अभी आप माइक्रो प्रोसेसर में पढ़ेंगे कि कैसे कैसे चीज़ें लिखी जाती हैं, कैसे कैसे वर्क करता है, प्रोसेसर कैसे होते हैं. तो उसमें इंटेल 8088 में वो लिखा गया था. एंड दिस इंटेल 8088 डज नॉट प्रोवाइड एनी डुअल मोड और एनी हार्डवेयर प्रोटेक्शन. So the developers or the designer of this operating system, they had no other option than just to leave this base hardware accessible by all the above layers. So that is why this is like uh, the simple structure, and we see that it is not efficient and it is not a good structure. Okay, now let us see the another structure which is known as the monolithic structure, which is also a simple kind of structure, and this was followed by the earlier Unix system. जो previous वाला simple structure था, that was for MS DOS. ठीक है, वो MS DOS में implement किया गया था. अब ये monolithic structure जो है वो earlier Unix operating system जो हुआ करते थे उसमें ये implemented था. So in this monolithic structure, this is also a limited structure, and why it is limited, that we will see. Okay, here we have the kernel and the system programs. So here on the top we have the users, below that we have the shells and command, compilers and interpreters, system libraries, and so on. See, and below this we have system call interface to the kernel, right? So that is the system call which accesses the kernel. जब भी कॉल आता है सिस्टम कॉल का, उसके बाद डायरेक्टली एक्सेस होता है कर्नेल को, राइट? सो एंड इसके बिलो जो भी सिस्टम कॉल इंटरफेस टू द कर्नल, वॉट एवर द पार्ट इज अवेलेबल, एंड अबव टू दिस हार्डवेयर, जो ये आखिरी का लेयर आपको दिख रहा है, टर्मिनल कंट्रोलर टर्मिनल वाला लेयर, above this layer and below this system call interface to the kernel layer, everything which is called as the kernel. Okay, above the hardware and below the system kernel, everything is kernel. And in this kernel there are different functions available. Okay, different functions like terminal handling, character input output system, terminal drivers, file system, swapping back input output system, disk and tape drivers, CPU scheduling, page replacement, demand paging, virtual memory. See, यहाँ पे जो भी आपको पॉइंट दिख रहे हैं ना, वो सब कुछ हमारे सिलेबस में वन बाय वन एक इंडिविजुअल पॉइंट है. डिमांड पेजिंग क्या होता है, पेज रिप्लेसमेंट के कौन से टाइप्स है, सीपीयू शेड्यूलिंग क्या होता है, व्हाट इज वर्चुअल मेमोरी, दैट वी आर गोइंग टू सी इन डिटेल. हर एक का अलग अलग चैप्टर ही है, ठीक है, अलग अलग एक टॉपिक ही है, बट दीज आर द पार्ट ऑफ योर कर्नल. ओके, सो इन दिस यू कैन सी दैट everything here is packed into the one level. किसी का ना ऑडियो शुरू है, रितिका, can you please mute yourself? Okay. So everything, all the functionalities which are available are packed into one level, and hence we call it as a monolithic structure. So this was followed by the earlier Unix system. So in here we see that everything, all these functionalities are packed into one level, which we call it as a kernel. But now the problem here with this is that there are too many functions packed into one level, and this makes its implementation and maintenance very difficult. कैसे अभी
मैम
डिफिकल्ट? हाँ,
मतलब वो सिस्टम इंटरफेस टू द कर्नल के बाद कॉन्टेक्स्ट स्विचिंग होता रहेगा, राइट?
हाँ. तो अभी ऐसा है कि जब भी कुछ मतलब यूजर मोड जैसा कुछ है ही नहीं इसमें.
ओके,
यू आर डायरेक्टली, यहाँ पे भी डायरेक्टली एक्सेस है, जैसे सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर में था वैसे ही यहाँ पे भी हो रहा है. यहाँ पे यूजर मोड कर्नल मोड इस तरीके से नहीं है.
अच्छा, तो
यूजर्स आर
डिफाइंड भी नहीं है?
नहीं, यूजर्स आर डायरेक्टली गोइंग टू एक्सेस दिस थिंग.
Okay, okay.
and whatever the program execution has been done, that has to be done into this kernel only. और सारे functionalities सब कुछ इधर ही अवेलेबल है, आपका प्रोग्राम भी इधर ही अवेलेबल है और उसको
Okay.
लगने वाले सारे रिसोर्सेज भी इसी लेवल में, सब कुछ इसी लेवल में अवेलेबल है. Okay, now suppose let us say that you want to add something into this level, or you have to change this and anything from this, any function you have to add or remove, then you have to change this entire thing, or you have to modify this entire thing. uh, Let us say you want to debug certain functionality in this kernel. Okay, so अभी कौन सा डिबगिंग, सपोज सीपीयू शेड्यूलिंग का ले लो प्रॉब्लम. सीपीयू शेड्यूलिंग में कोई प्रॉब्लम है अगर आपको, देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम विद द सीपीयू शेड्यूलिंग, इन ऑर्डर टू फिक्स दैट पर्टिकुलर इशू you will have to touch the entire kernel. So this makes it a system which is very difficult to maintain or to debug any particular functionalities. किसी एक भी चीज के रिलेटेड आपको काम करना है तो पूरा एक्सेस इस कर्नल में आ रहा है, सारे फंक्शनलिटीज इधर उधर हो जाएंगे. अगर आपको कुछ नया भी फंक्शनलिटी ऐड करना है तो भी आपको हर एक का प्लेस जो है उसको चेंज करना पड़ेगा, उसको प्रॉपरली मेंटेन एंड इम्प्लीमेंट करना पड़ेगा, राइट. सो दिस इज we can say the disadvantage of your monolithic structure, and there are too many things which are packed into one level. So this is also a very simple and limited structure which was followed by the earlier Unix operating system, right. So till now we have talked about the two simple structures, that is monolithic, and one is the simple structure. Both of them have some disadvantages. Then after this, developers have come up with some another structure which is something called as the layered structure. अभी यहाँ पे लेयर आता है. लेयर मतलब मैंने आपको पिछले सिंपल में बताया था कि वो लेयर की तरह दिख तो रहा है, बट दे आर नॉट एक्चुअली ऑपरेटिंग एज अ लेयर, राइट, क्योंकि वो हर एक का प्रिविलेज दे रहा है, हर एक लेयर का प्रिविलेज दे रहा है, तो वैसे लेयर स्ट्रक्चर में नहीं होता है. नाउ दिस इज समथिंग विच इज कॉल्ड एज अ लेयर स्ट्रक्चर. In this structure, your operating system is divided into the number of layers. For example, here in the this is the lowermost, या फिर कह सकते हैं layer 0, where your hardware is resided. Then we have layer 1, layer 2, जिसमें हर एक different functions जो है implement किए जाते हैं up to layer n, right. And then the topmost layer is the user interface. So here, in contrast to your monolithic structure जो हमने अभी देखा पिछला, जिसमें everything was packed into a single level, but here we have broken that structure, broken down the functionalities into different layers. Okay, and we have separated them like so the main separated ऐसा separate किया है ना कि किसी एक को अगर एक्सेस करना है कोई चीज, then they will just ask to the lower below it, then that particular layer will ask to the lower below it, and then that particular layer will ask to the actual core hardware, right. So the main advantage here is what, कि direct core hardware को कोई टच नहीं कर रहा है डायरेक्टली, या फिर यूजर जो है आपका यूजर प्रोग्राम जो है, दे आर नॉट इंटरैक्टिंग डायरेक्टली विद द कोर हार्डवेयर, isn't it? So इसका डायग्राम निकाला क्या मोनोलिथिक स्ट्रक्चर का? बिकॉज ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के स्ट्रक्चर्स ड्रॉ करो ऐसे क्वेश्चन आता है. एक मिनट, ड्रॉ दिस वन. आई थिंक ये भी आपने ड्रॉ नहीं किया था. ड्रॉ दिस वन एंड देन मोनोलिथिक एंड देन लेयर स्ट्रक्चर. 10 मार्क्स के लिए. Easy to debug and easy to implement because every layer is having different functionalities. Now, the example which we have taken before, that is CPU scheduling. Suppose CPU scheduling functionality has placed in between any of this layer. किसी एक layer में यहाँ पे वो एक functionalities है CPU scheduling, and you want to debug the CPU scheduling problem which has occurred in your system. Okay, but that now can be solved separately. No need to uh, interact with this above layer or below layer or any core hardware, isn't it? You just have to deal with that particular CPU scheduling layer and you can debug the problem, right? So बट इट डजंट मीन कि वी कैन से दिस इज द बेस्ट स्ट्रक्चर एवर, ऐसा भी नहीं है. वाई? बिकॉज दिस इज ऑल्सो हैविंग सम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज और these are also having some limitations. So one difficulty in this structure or with this structure is the designing. Okay, designing this layered structure, because while designing this structure you have to be very careful and specific in designing, and specific which will be the layer above और एट द टॉप मोस्ट लेयर और बिलो, मतलब कौन से लेयर के नीचे कौन सा होगा, कौन से लेयर उसके नीचे कौन सा लेयर होगा, या फिर इसके ऊपर ही ये पर्टिकुलर लेयर होना चाहिए. दैट शुड बी वेरी केयरफुली चूजन, because only the below layer can provide the services to the above layer, or we also can say that the above layer can only access the services which are provided by the below layer, right? So accordingly we have to arrange all the layers. So this can be considered, this can be understood at the initial level only. वो बहुत सोच समझ के ही इसका स्ट्रक्चर बनाना पड़ेगा कि कौन सा लेयर कहाँ वर्क करेगा, राइट? सो लेट अस से लेयर विच इज, अगर ये एग्जांपल देखना है कि मान लो कि something or any layer, particular layer which is back in the store, that means the layer which deal with the disk space, okay, used by virtual memory algorithm. आपका जो वर्चुअल मेमोरी होता है उसका जो अल्गोरिदम है वो वर्क करता है आपके डिस्क स्पेस पे, उस लेयर पे काम करता है. सो देयर इज अ लेयर डीलिंग विद दिस बैकिंग स्टोरेज. नाउ दिस लेयर वी हैव टू मेक श्योर कि that particular layer should be below the layer of your memory management, because the memory management routines needs to use the services which are provided by the backing storage, right? So because of that we have to make sure that backing storage layer is below the memory management, below the memory management layer, isn't it? मतलब उसका जो एक प्रॉपर स्टेप रहेंगे, ऊपर कौन सा नीचे कौन सा, सर्विसेज कौन किससे यूज करने वाला है, कौन से कंडीशंस में लग सकता है, दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टूड. सो दिस इज जस्ट वन एग्जांपल, okay? And that way there are so many other requirements which may not be so obvious, or so we need to be very careful in designing. So that is why this can be the problem, we can say एक प्रॉब्लम भी बन सकता है अगर वो प्रॉपरली हमने उसको डिजाइन नहीं किया है. So the another problem with this is that this may or may not be such that much efficient if we compare to other structure. अभी ऐसा क्यों? This is because when one layer wants to use the services provided by the layers which are below it, so that particular request has to go down below each layer one by one, isn't it? And by the time services which is actually provided, it may come or it may reach late, that is it may not receive fast, isn't it? जैसे मान लो कि यूजर ने यहाँ से यूजर इंटरफेस के थ्रू यूजर प्रोग्राम में जो भी रन हो रहा है, they may access, they may want to give a print, they may want to access any input output devices. तो वहां से रिक्वेस्ट चल के इस लेयर के थ्रू, इस लेयर के थ्रू, फिर एक्चुअल कोर में जाके उसका प्रोसेसिंग होके उसको सर्विस मिलने तक इट मे टेक सम टाइम, राइट? तो यहाँ पे सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड होने में डिले हो सकता है. सो दैट मे बी द अनदर प्रॉब्लम. इट इज नॉट, इट डजंट मीन कि वो हमेशा रहेगा, बट इट मे पॉसिबल कि सर्विसेज रीच होने तक, अगर वो ज़्यादा दूर का सर्विसेज या फिर प्रोसेसिंग में है, सो इट मे पॉसिबल कि उसमें डिले आ सकता है, राइट? सो आफ्टर दिस वन मोर structure, that is the microkernel. The other one is the microkernel. So I think you just draw this diagram and we'll see the part of this microkernel, and the one more structure is there. Those 2 points we will see in the next session. और कल थोड़ा सा मैं क्वेश्चंस भी पूछूंगी शुरुआत में कि कौन से स्ट्रक्चर में क्या था एंड सिस्टीन कॉल क्या था, थोड़ा सा रिवाइज करके आना.